Hello and welcome to the Joy of Building. And yes, that name of the series is inspired by Bob Ross's The Joy of Painting. So, let's get started, shall we? In this series, this is the very first episode, of course, we'll be building various builds and I'll explain as I go along how I go about it. It's not necessarily the best way to go about it, but well, we'll just see how it goes. So, in this very first episode, I want to build um, a little farm-like area. And now I know what you might be thinking. This looks nothing like a farm, what I'm doing right now. Well, I'm starting with the terrain around the farm area. Because, well, if you want to have a little house on a hill, for example, it's easy to just start with a house. That's the easy way of just getting started. But something that I find very important when building, well, anything really, is if you want to have your house be on a hill, it can be difficult to make the hill after you've already made the house. So the easiest way is to start with the hill and then go along. So what I've got right now doesn't really look like a hill. But if you'll give me a moment, I'll fill up these two plateaus, like so. And then we can continue. Alright, so right now I've got, well, basically two different layers to my build. Well, three different layers. There's also the ground over here. I wanna have a little fishing pond over here on the bottom layer. Then over here on the middle layer, I wanna have a little farmland with some stables. And then on the top, we're gonna have our main house, our building. So we're gonna need roads connecting them. So that you can get from one to the other. And for now, I'm just making it grass, like so. But eventually, I'm gonna add a gravel path between all of the different parts of our farm area, farm village, farm, whatever you would call it. So the grass right now is just to show where the path will be. And then what I think looks really cool if we do is if we're making it a little bit of a cliff, like the land isn't all smooth. It's a bit rugged. So to do that, we're just gonna add some stone like this. Don't just make the stone go straight down, but add a little bit over here and, well, maybe some over here. Some extra stone so it's a little bit more rugged. And what you can also do is put some grass hanging down a little bit more. So it looks like the grass is kind of flowing over the terrain, you know? And then we'll do the same over here. This bit is a bit higher, so it'll take longer, but as you can see, doesn't take too long to just If you misplace like that, you can just keep it because, well, if you look at mountains in real life, they're not always so smooth, so that's okay if you place a block somewhere you don't want it to be. Just keep it. And sometimes remove it. Just it's your world, you can make it whatever you want it to be. And then sometimes you go out a little bit further than would seem logical at first, but that's all to make it less bland. If you just go straight down everywhere the same, your build will look boring because it's the same everywhere. There's nothing interesting to look at. So try to make it as diverse as possible. And let's put the last press block one down. Put some grass over there. And maybe even over here. Alright, so there's our terrain done. Didn't take too long. So I have some presets. Oh, by the way, I should say I'm on 1.12.1 at the moment. So that means that we can use concrete blocks and we can have those handy presets that I just showed you. Oh, and by the way, there's some air under here. We won't worry about that right now. That's alright. We don't mind. Alright, so I want to have a little bit of a farm over here. So let's just do that. I'm gonna grab some coarse dirt to go around the edges. That's not coarse dirt. So it looks a bit more natural, I guess is the word. And we're gonna also have some hay built in here. And let's make some more farmland and another hay bale. We could bone meal these, but they'll grow eventually, so I'm not gonna bother. And then to top off our gate, we could let's just do something simple like this. And then like that. There's our farm. And then we can start working on our little stable area, which I was talking about earlier. Now for stables, I usually like to go with some logs and generally a whole bunch of wood. Because, well, it looks strong and I guess it's kind of true to real life if you do it like that. I'm just measuring it out right now. You know what? Let's use the oak wood instead. And then for a roof on here, we'll grab some darker wooden slabs and make it go down like this. Oops. And then we'll have a back over here. Make it like that. And let's connect these fences to the back. And let's finish the roof. Now in these stables I'm going to have a couple of horses. And I'm going to have some hay bales stacked up as well. Now you could always put different things in your stables. You could put a donkey inside, or just put whatever inside. You can put your chickens inside if you want to. Doesn't have to make sense. It's Minecraft. Alright, and then for the side we'll also put some fences in. Let's grab some hay bales. I like using middle mouse button, by the way, to grab the blocks I need. Alright, there's some hay bales. Then let's see, where's our... Oh, llamas, of course. Who could forget llamas? Oh. A lead. And of course, if you're building this in survival, you can use your own bred animals. And a cow. Let's put a cow in here. Again, it doesn't have to make sense. Alright. Now, this from the top looks kind of bland, if you ask me. It's not really the most exciting thing to look at. So what people usually do is in the roof they'll make some support beams, and I'm putting my logs sideways because I'm lazy and it's easier to place them like that. You could also place your logs like this if you want to, but in my case I'm going with my logs like this. And then once you've done that, again, for those playing in survival, you might want to light up with a torch. But in my world, the sun doesn't set, so it's okay. Alright, let's go and build a little bit of a pod. Ah yeah, that's a thing when you're building your own terrain. Using gravel can be annoying, so I'm going to quickly make this plateau 2-layer stick so I can use gravel more easily. Alright, so let's continue. Our terrain is now 2-layer thick, so we can place gravel without worrying about it falling down. Except over here. Over here it's still 1-layer thick, but it's only a small bit. Alright, so for our roads I'm using gravel. You can basically use anything. You can also use the pod blocks like this, but I'll use those another time. Right now we're using gravel because it stands out a lot, and when people see gravel, generally people will know it's supposed to be a pod, so it makes sense to use gravel, you know? Alright, and our pod will go down here as well. Now there's one thing. Right now, our path, you have to jump up. And if you're just doing this for creative mode on the server or somewhere, you don't really care, or at least I don't really care about having to jump up, because not many people will run around it. People will just fly around it. But for ease of accessibility, I suppose, you can put some cobblestone slabs around it. Now, I'm not really happy about the fact that we have to use cobblestone or something else, because, well, it's not gravel, and our path is supposed to be gravel. But for now, it's the best we can do. Maybe in the future we'll have more options, but for now, doesn't seem likely to be in the future, in the near future at least. Alright, so I want to build a little hut over here, and then kind of pretending to be in a larger world, we'll have our path branching off this way as well. Let's put the grass block over there. So, we want to build a little pond over here. So, because we want to have a little fishing hut, or I want to have a little fishing hut. So, let's just first dig out an outline for our pond, like so. And then remove the grass inside, and then I'm gonna make it one layer deeper than this, so it's gonna be 2 layers at most. And this won't be a cliff like over there. This will be a bit smoother terrain. So there's our bucket already. So to make a bit smoother terrain, just kind of follow the edges of your outer ring, if you will, and then just go one step down. But don't follow it exactly, because if you do that, it'll look too smooth. It won't look very natural if it's too smooth. And then simply fill up with a bucket. And there you go. And I want to also have a little bit more water in this corner, so going to dig out an area again. Maybe it goes in a little bit over here at the end and then goes out again. And then, because I'm in a void world, I'm going to have to make sure the water doesn't drop out. So I'm going to quickly go over here and grab a barrier block. You could also use other blocks. If you're on a server, usually the worlds will have blocks generated besides your plot. So you don't have to worry about it. It's just, it'll be fine most of the time. And if you're building in survival, maybe you can make this little thing into a river flowing down further. And let's make it a little bit deeper still. And barrier blocks, for those who don't know, they're basically invisible blocks. When I'm holding a barrier block in my hand, I can see them. But when I'm not holding a barrier block, they're invisible. So that way I can use them to keep my water inside, but I won't ruin the view. So if you can see on my first person camera, you can see the blocks. But on the overview camera, you can't see them. And now they're gone on my own camera as well. You gotta make sure you got water everywhere, otherwise the water will not fill in perfectly. Alright, so there we go. Time to build a little house over here. So I wanna start by making a place for our door. It's gonna go be between these two pillars. And let's make a little bit of an overhang for our door. Just so that the walls aren't entirely flat. Because that's a thing that, well, it's not necessarily wrong if you make flat walls. Again, it's your build, you can do whatever you want. But having walls that go out a little bit just make it a little bit more interesting to look at. It's not so... how do you say it? It's not the same everywhere, you know? So I'm just going to extend the roof over here. And for this portion, I want the roof to start over here. So again, it looks a little bit more interesting because it's got all the different layers to the house. And then this bit is going to go up a little bit more. This bit of the roof is going to stop over there. But you still need this one because it's visible. Oh. And then put some half slabs at the top because, well, otherwise the roof wouldn't be... what's the word? The roof wouldn't make sense. That's not a word, but oh well. Alright, let's make it like that. Let's get our cobblestone back so that we can have little walls like that. And then if you're making this in survival, well, if you're making it in creative, you also want to put a door on it, first of all. But for those of you in survival, just grab a torch. Nope, not over there. And what you can do is you want a chest, a crafting table, a furnace. And maybe something like an anvil. And you can just put those over here. Well, not the chest. You could put the chest over there, I suppose. But I would personally put the chest over here instead. And then you can put all of these and your anvil. And of course your ender chest can go over there. Maybe a brewing stand. And then this being a fishing hut, I left the back open. So we need a little place where we can fish. Let's not put it over there. And let's grab some fences. Let's go with spruce again. I just like spruce. It fits well with the other kinds of wood. And then we can maybe connect it to a little area over here. You can fish from here. And then inside of the house you can make a floor. Let's go with a gray floor. With the gray concrete. Since we're in 1.12, let's just go ahead and use the new blocks. And of course beneath the door also. So there we go. So far we've got a fishing hut, a stable, and a little farm. And then we still need our big home. So for this, let's use the darker wood. And because this is going to be a bigger home, and we want it in the same theme, so let's continue using wood. Let's make our door have a little bit bigger of an entrance. So let's put our door over there. And I placed it from the inside, so again, we have the different layers. The door is one block further back. And let's not use the same blocks as we're using for the roof, because that will look a little bit out of place, in my opinion. And then we can continue doing like this. And again, I'm making the roof extend a little bit across the front. And you can just make your house. Usually houses have a bottom layer that's like stone, by the way, so let's do that. And let's count in odd blocks. So this is 5 blocks, and there's gonna be our next pillar. Why an odd number of blocks, you may ask? Well, it's just easier to work with. And usually it looks a bit better if you do. Why? Because there's a middle block. In this case it doesn't really matter. But sometimes when you're building, it can be really difficult if you don't have a center block to your area of the building to do what you want to do, if you know what I'm saying. So let's continue this to the back. Let's make another pillar over here and over here. Then let's have a back entrance to our house, because we want to have a little backyard. Or at least I think when you're a farmer, you have all this area around your land. Why not have a little backyard? Now we already have a window over here. And let's put another one over here. But let's not put one over here, because having too many windows sometimes distracts from the build. How many blocks is this actually? This is 7 blocks, alright. Let's actually make this a piece of 3 blocks like that. Then have another pillar. Now if you're going on a straight wall, you can move the pillars outwards 1 block as well, to again create more layers of depth to your build. And let's fill this up. Alright, now let's put on the roof. And having different bits of the roof, I'll explain what I mean in a bit, will make it again look a little more interesting. So first of all, this is just a simple continuation, but let's for the back part over here start the roof on this layer and see where that brings us. So that will make the roof go back 1 more block. And this may look a bit odd for now, but we can fix that by doing this, so you don't really see it. And if this is confusing, to you to do. What you can simply do is make this part be a different color of stair and then later replace it, so that way you can keep track of what is supposed to go where. Let's put this over here for now so I can use it to build off of. Oop. And over here we don't need to put the half slab on top, because this apparently is an even number of blocks. And that sometimes just happens. You can't really do anything about it sometimes, because of the way this is 5 blocks and then we're adding essentially 2 blocks over here, but this part is 1 block. Anyway, I'll continue building the roof and then I'll meet back with you once that's done. Alright, so I finished the roof. At the back here I've made another little bit, if you will. So the roof starts over here instead. And I was talking about making a backyard, so let's just do that real quickly. And we don't have too much space, but let's just see what we can do. There we go. So let's put in a little bench over here. You can make a simple bench by just placing down 2 stairs with on the sides 2 signs. Simple as that. That's a little bench. And then, well, we can put some plants around the garden. Maybe something like this. And then, you know what? Let's make a little tree. We've already got wood in our inventory, so we just need some leaves. And some of you might be saying, well, why aren't you just using bone meal to make a tree? It's so much easier. Well, I don't like the way trees look generally in Minecraft. You can do so much more if you just make your own trees. And you can make them the perfect size. And it can be as simple as this. Doesn't have to be difficult, just place down a couple logs. Don't make a completely straight line because trees just aren't straight. Trees make curves and flow, and trees are alive, you know? So, well, that's just the way they are, so let's do that. And I was looking at this while making the roof, and then I thought, maybe this is a bit boring. So, what can we do about it? Let's put, where is it? Over there. Doesn't have to make sense, just make it look however you want it to look. And then you can maybe even do something like this. Make a small roof over top. And then you have a little bit of a more interesting entrance to your house. Now, those grass blocks are gonna die, and we don't want just dirt under there. So instead, let's make it coarse dirt. And of course, we're gonna have to continue our path to our front door. Let's replace the door. And as you can see, it's dark inside. So, torches, especially in survival, again, because you don't want those pesky monsters inside of your house. And let's see, what kind of glass should we use? I think I'm going with light gray for this house. Light gray is a type of glass that's very difficult to see from a large distance. I don't want to use something bright like, I don't know, one of the other colors. But I also don't want the white glass or the normal glass type, because I think it stands out too much. So let's just make a little checkerboard floor in our house, because why not? And let's decorate it with workbench, furnace, some chests. Let's put a whole stack of chests over here. And well, to reach the top ones, of course, we're gonna need some ladders. And why not have a little bit of an attic over here? So we can do like this. And let's connect it over here. And that way we have a little attic. Again, you can put chests over here, because they're, well, that one isn't, but the other ones, they're stair blocks. Like that, you can open it, and you can open that one. If you want to put a chest over there, you can use a trap chest instead. Looks almost the same, but you can use it as storage. And to make sure we don't fall, let's put some spruce fences. Because we're using so much spruce already, let's just continue that theme. Let's fill that up. Just the finishing touches. Some furnaces. Let's put some more furnaces over here, because of course we need to do a lot of furnacing, burning, smelting, smelting. And let's put a little flower next to the door, so let's get our flower pot. Let's do a blue orchid. I like blue orchids. And there we go, that's the inside of our house. And that's basically most of the build done. Now there's some final things you can do to finish it up. So for example, you can go around and bone meal the grass. Make sure the grass doesn't come too close to the pot, because, well, it's your pot and you don't want to ruin that. So that just makes it look a little bit more alive again. And then to finish it up, I think we're going to add 1 or 2 more trees. I think this would be a good place to put a tree. Trees like water, so I think a tree would grow over here. Actually, let's make it hang over the water a little bit. So let's make it a big old willow tree. So let's do it like that. And again, trees are alive, just like you could call the terrain alive in that it moves and flows. So you don't want to think too much about where you're placing each specific block. Alright, there's one tree and let's put another one over at our other pond. Doesn't matter if the root is a little bit in the water, because again, real life, it happens. Sometimes trees grow a little bit in the water or the water rises. The water moves, the tree moves, the land moves. So let's have a little bit of hanging leaves again. But don't forget to put leaves on top. And there we have it. Another tree done. And I think that should be it for this very first episode of The Joy of Building. So let's just fly around it slowly. Now there are some other minor touch-ups you could do around the area. Oops, wrong buttons. So for example over there you could put some more grass. You could put some more coarse dirt around. Or if you want, you can make the rock a little bit more cracked and natural looking by just replacing patches of the stone with cobblestone instead. Makes it look a little bit more natural if you have some of those patches in there. And of course, there's the whole underside issue. There's nothing there, so you might as well fill it up like this. You don't have to fill it up all the way, it doesn't matter, just fill up the wall so no one can see it. Or if you have a little bit more space, make a little bit larger of an area and fill it all up. So that was it for the first episode of The Joy of Building. Today we've built a little bit of a farm area and I've shown you how to make some simple but still impressive terrain. I hope you guys have enjoyed and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.